Welcome back, everybody, and it is the end of February, which means two things. For one, that means it's starting to warm up where I live in Canada, where we actually have like plus weather right now. And number two is you get monthly recap number 8, where we go over some of the biggest stories in streaming news. And this month, there was a ton of big updates, including Amazon shutting down their app store for Android-style devices. Something big has happened with the Chromecast 4K and HD versions. And your Nvidia Shield has done something for the first time in over a year. I make weekly videos helping users like you save money on streaming services and learning how to optimize their device. If you enjoy this kind of content, the best way to support me is hit that subscribe button right down below. Story number 1 involves Amazon making some major changes, and they did this via their side-loading app store that they've had for a number of years. Now, this was an app store that users could sideload directly on Android tablets and some Android phones, so that you can still access the Amazon App Store. But unfortunately for people that have been using that, it clearly just wasn't super popular. However, there might be a little bit of alternative motive to this. If you also didn't hear, Android TV OS is coming to Fire TVs. No, not Fire OS, which is Android-based, but actual Android TV 14. And this is really interesting that the same month we find out about that, we also find out they're shutting down their third-party app store. Now, this has led to a little bit of speculation that maybe Amazon is dropping their app store for good. But the reality of this is that Amazon makes a lot of money off it. If you didn't know, app stores get a ton of money. They get like 30% revenue from app purchases and in-app purchases. And in the case of streaming devices, that also means streaming services. That's right, they get a little cut of that revenue. Have you ever wondered why if you get a streaming service through Apple, like when you buy it off your iPhone and you have your subscription in your app store, why it's more expensive than getting it off web? That's why. They charge you a premium. And I think all this really shows is that Amazon is really focusing on their devices and their home network. And this marks an end to Amazon's partnership with BlackBerry and Microsoft phones, where they used to load their app store as the official one. All right, we have a couple of really big stories here, including one a few of you are definitely not going to be happy with. And that is because, yes, the Google Chromecast 4K and HD version are completely and finally discontinued. And we left some hope that maybe they would leave these up even with the Google TV streamer coming out, but I think this does show one important thing. First of all, if you go to their product page and you try to buy it, you can see it is now grayed out and you're unable to purchase anything. So that's a bit of a bummer. But the good news could be that even though this is discontinued, they might have an affordable new option coming out shortly. So we'll stay tuned for that. May or may not be coming. I'll obviously keep you guys updated. And here's what I've been wanting to do an update for a while now, and that is Real Debrid. As you guys know, they put in some major anti-piracy measures, and that was a bit of a bummer. But I want to show you the little decrease they've had in traffic. So since then, a lot of people have told me, yes, it is still working. And it seems like they found workarounds and the service might be working a little differently, but most people are telling me, yes, Real Debrid still works fine for all your streaming, stuff like that. But the amount of traffic that has gone down is not as much as you'd think. In fact, it has only seen around a 15% decrease in traffic. Now, that's really not a lot, but what I want to see, this is as of January 1st, I want to see the updated numbers, because the reality is that's an 8% in December, 15% in January. Will it go even higher? I don't know. Clearly, this scare that they had, where they had to put in these anti-piracy measures, has made a huge difference in their business. So we'll have to see how they adopt going forward. And here's something interesting I found in this article. So as you guys know, there was a lot of panic when this initially happened. People were like, oh my God. So a lot of people asked for refunds. But for whatever reason, they warranted that a refund wasn't warranted, and then they started immediately banning accounts that asked for it. So this is a bit of a weird move by Real Debrid. Honestly, it's a cheap service. If like 10,000 people ask for a refund, just do it, because they're gonna come back. But after you start banning accounts, now they're going to competitors. So I don't think that was probably the best move by them, but we'll have to see. Now, before we talk about your Nvidia Shield and what exactly is going on there, I want to talk about our sponsor really briefly, IPVanish. Despite the legal push by rights holders to make your information more available by putting pressure on your internet service provider, a VPN has turned out to be one of the most reliable solutions to that. As most of you probably know, when you go online and start doing anything, what you're doing is automatically tracked through your IP address. Basically, all your requests will go to your internet service provider, and they're able to track and keep tabs on what you're doing. Luckily, by connecting a VPN to your streaming device, your phone, your TV, whatever you're using, you can completely bypass that and mask your IP address. And on top of that, IPVanish also offers something called Secure Browser, which is a completely remote browser giving you 100% anonymity. But you already have that because IPVanish also has a no-log policy. If you're somebody that likes your privacy and you also want to support the channel, I've left the link right down below in the description and pinned in the comments. You get over 80% off and it's free for 30 days. So it's completely risk-free. So what a lot of you were probably waiting for, the Nvidia Shield update. Now, this is the first time Nvidia has offered a complete update to a new version on your Shield, a complete new Shield experience for over a year. That is a long time to go without an update. It really wasn't too long ago that I said Nvidia's most likely stopping updates because they're going to come out with a new version. It makes sense. It's on pace with their kind of release schedule for new tech. It would add new hype, and they'll have a chance to maybe create a more powerful and new features inside of these versions. And what a lot of us were hoping for, also a stick version, because that would be amazing. A $100 Nvidia stick would destroy the market. But instead, all we get is this brand new Shield experience, which, to be honest, is kind of lackluster. I'm gonna put on screen what a lot of the updates were and kind of leave it there while it's scrolling down. Editor, do a good job of that, please. And most of these are just little patch fixes, and like Aurora 3D, which is like an audio experience, you can now utilize that. But as I talked about earlier in the month, that will run you around $1,000 to be able to actually use something like that. So for most people, you probably won't. So that leads us to the question, well, what is their actual plan here? And I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I hear some people saying they're never going to come out with a new version, but I just can't see that being true. Yes, Nvidia has a lot of things going on. But with that being said, the smart home market and the control of it is too powerful, I think, for them to let go of. So I do expect them to release a new device. I said 2025, but I think I've been wrong for like 2 years in a row, so we'll see what's coming up. So last I want to talk about an old nemesis, and this is a streaming service, IPTV service, that I have been dunking on for the longest time, and that is, yes, Q streaming. Q is an illegal IPTV service that, yes, I don't care about the legal part. I've never been somebody to dunk on them for that reason, but they go after charities, and they were heavily promoting it towards giving 10% to charities, even though their service costs $60 a month. That's right, $60 a month for an illegal IPTV service. Think of that. But what I've noticed is they've actually haven't updated their Facebook page in a long time, since August 5th. So they did an update then, and then since then, nothing. And that goes the same with their website. They really haven't added anything to their website at all. Completely the exact same. Not that they really have to update that. And then I also noticed there's now something called the Q Alternative Discussion Group, where their whole about section says, why pay $60 a month for Q streaming when you can get the same channels for much less or free? Which is exactly what I was saying. Not only are you going after charities, but you're also charging like 4 times more, making even more money. And I have never been someone that's been like, man, I hope these guys get caught and I hope they actually have consequences. I actually genuinely hope that with Q. And I hope that, like, even if my videos help people from not purchasing this service, then I've done like a little part of the job there, and I've helped out just a little bit. So I hope that does it. And the extra reason why I don't like them is because their CEO, this guy, I think his name's like Dave Waddell, that's his name. He's already been convicted of fraud back in the past in Ohio. It had to do with like fiber optic internet installation or something like a couple $100,000. So this guy is like a serial fraudster. And yeah, I just hope that there's actually some consequences for this. They have lasted longer than I thought, but hey, we all know these things don't last forever, let's be honest. Thank you guys for watching this month's monthly recap number 8. I always appreciate you checking out the video. Again, hit that subscribe button right down below if you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys later.